Hello, this is Julia of Yoga Teachers Forum London, and I'm here today with Dominik. And for a very long time, I've wanted to find out more about the world of yin yoga, and that is a world in which Dominik lives. So I want to say good morning to you this morning.
Very good morning.
And I'd just like to start maybe by asking you how you came to practice yoga at all in the first place.
Well, to make the story short, before I embarked on this yin boat, I was doing a lot of meditation. And as you know, to meditate, it requires you to sit for long 45 minutes, 1 hour, So it was a little bit, I'd say, not boring, but it takes a very long time to get the results that you are looking for. To calm your mind, calm your body. So on my very first yin yoga class, it was like a butterflies. I just fell in love because the results I would receive after 40 minutes of zazen meditation, they came to me after 3 minutes of a butterfly pose. So I was like, wow, this is something. It's like a shortcut to what I like to do, what I know benefits me. So after this very first class, it just it blew my mind, and I fully dedicated myself into this. Obviously, I did practice some other styles of yoga before, primarily Iyengar and Hatha yoga. However, to me, it's again very personal. The results, when you're doing Hatha yoga, you go up and down, left and right. The asana practice is more dynamic, and it's a beautiful practice on its own, but it was not exactly what I was looking for in my own practice. So this passiveness, this stillness of yin, it just helped me to dive deeper into it. Also, I studied anthropology, so I was kind of always interested in the Eastern philosophies. So in 2012, I moved to China to learn more of Buddhism and Taoism, and that's also where I encountered TCM, the traditional Chinese medicine. I mean, this is a place to learn more of that. And at that time, I came across Jo Fee, who is now well-known trainer, and she showed me how to merge this ancient practice of yoga with ancient practice of TCM. They are very different styles of modalities, but actually when you blend them, it's absolutely to me a mind-blowing experience when we can go much deeper than on just one style of the philosophy or modality. So that's how I started, and since then, after 7 years of living in China, TCM and Yin yoga, it's like my second love after my better half. So it's a very rewarding practice to me because naturally I'm an introvert. So this is something that resonates with me very deeply. I do try to balance my yin with other styles. I do, lots of hiking and all that stuff. However, it just comes very natural to me to go into this yin. And again, I was incredibly lucky to come across Jo Fee. She's my mentor, and I studied with her and I assisted her on many trainings around the world. And she actually gave me this spark of TCM and Yin yoga. So that's to make it short.
Great. So for you, what would favorite, let's say you wake up in the morning, what's your favorite practice to involve yourself with?
Yeah, well, morning, first thing I do in the morning after toilet, I drink my coffee. I don't usually do yin yoga in the morning. It's because I want to be more, awakened. So I'll do a lot of qigong exercises and a lot of breathing exercises coming from the Taoist practices. But in the evenings, that's, evenings and nights, that's more yin. So it's easier to merge with the yinness in the evenings. So I try to follow the natural cycles of of the life. So in the morning, that would be my yang qigong practice and breathing pranayamas and that kind of things. But in the evenings, that's when I settle down. That's when I would do my meditation, some calming breaths, and yin practice as well. And it's not always on my yoga mat. I do it on the bed as well.
Lovely.
Yeah.
It's interesting what you said about the cycle of the day and yang morning and the yin evening.
Correct.
Right now we're in winter, we're in December. So do you find that yin is easier or more natural because of the, we're in the Northern Hemisphere. So when we've got these darker days, do you find that yin is kind of more natural?
So much so. Well, we are getting into the winter, so it's going to be an element of water soon, and it's a very passive energy of the time. In winter, what we want to do is just eat and stay at home. Stay cozy. It's dark and it's cold. That's, again, these are the qualities of the yin. So personally, and I notice with my students as well, this energy of yin comes much easier to absorb, and that's a very natural. Yin is nurturing. Yin is storing your energy, is preserving this energy for the spring that is going to come, that will need a lot of that expansion of your growth. So absolutely, when it's dark, when it's cold, it just comes easier to do yin. Absolutely.
And do you find that where we are in the world that we live in, that is more difficult because there are so many things out there that kind of push against the natural flow of the seasons?
Yeah, well, especially if you live in modern cities, London or Shenzhen or those big cities, we are so detached from this natural cycle of how life goes. And our social media, our friends, boyfriends, children, school, banks, cars, and all that stuff, it takes our energy from ourselves. So especially if you're a modern city dweller, it's very difficult to go inside to do the yin practice. But at the same time, if you live in the city, if you live in this big city and your life is very expanding, going outwards, going to the meetings, to your work, to whatever your life is, you needed more. You needed more to stay balanced. And if you live in the countryside, let's say you live in the countryside, your life is already more yin. It's more relaxed. You don't need it so much. You need more ashtanga. You need more, the breath of fire. That's what you need. But if we live in cities, we are already so far from our center. So this is yin. This is the beauty of yin that I find most rewarding. It helps me to be grounded. It helps me to be centered.
I wanted to ask you, because you said that you started your journey from a place of practicing meditation and then you found yin. How did you move from being a practitioner to being a teacher?
I think it just came naturally. So at that time, I was living on this beautiful tropical island of Hainan, south from China. And it was just, I think, a need of people around me. I think that's how everyone starts. We feel this inner need to teach. And then I was, again, very lucky to have people who encouraged me to do that. And so in the beginning, it started with, again, my better half and my friends. And then I got connected with the yoga studio that was open to have me in their classes. So that was it. Now when I look at it, now when I look at my beginnings, it was terrible. It was so terrible. I was, teaching in a way of, aligning everyone to do the same kind of pose, so they looked in the same kind of shape. Terrible practice, but hey, that's the lesson we do. That's how we make mistakes, and I can only hope those students are okay now.
I think sometimes when we start from a place where the yoga is very formulaic, everyone's the same.
True.
That's often where we all start from, and we start from a place of structure and learning the way, the steps to go a long way. But there's something that maybe even captured us in doing that. And then from there, you can go all sorts of places. I've got a wonderful teacher who teaches me Sanskrit, and her first experience of yoga was in a hot yoga studio, doing the sequences in the hot yoga studio. We all start somewhere, and there's benefits in the structure as well.
Sure.
Who knows where the river will take us?
Absolutely. We need structure. Structure is the first thing, but then we need to come out of it and explore different ways to suit every individual. That's at least that's how we, in the Paul Greeley's method, that's how we try to approach the yoga practice. Function over aesthetics.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, because we're in winter now as we chat, but the workshop that you're running is going to be high summer.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that energy? It's going to be the 5th of June, almost the longest day of the year, with really, really long days. So when you look at yin from the perspective of high summer, how does that work?
Well, summer, obviously, that's the earth and fire energies that we want to balance. However, in short, so along our bodies, we have meridians, as the ancient would call it. It's a very bad translation, meridians, because I don't like it. Generally, let's call them energy channels of the 12 main meridians. So we try to stimulate. When I say stimulate, I mean compressing. When we compress, pressurize, and stretch those points that are associated with different elements. So for example, if we would be working with the earth energies, so those lines would be at the front of the body, in our chest, in our legs, we would be doing poses to stretch those lines. For example, I don't know if you know the pose of, let's say, a dragon. So that's in short, that's how it works. We pressurize when we apply myofascial release therapy. And then we also, if we apply yin yoga, we would stretch those points, those lines. So in short, it's a very simple and very efficient way to do that. And that's again another beauty of yin, another beauty of yoga practice, that it's not a difficult thing. It can be very simple, and it's very approachable to everyone. It was designed for everyone to benefit, and that's what we want to do.
Can you speak a little bit more to MYOYIN and what that is? And I think you've started to.
Yes.
Speak a little bit more to that, because that's going to be a main focus of the workshop.
So the MYOYIN, I like the name. When we translate myo in Latin, it means muscle, the body of the muscle. And so what we do, we apply the techniques of myofascial release. We don't do that a lot in yin yoga, but all the physical therapists, they apply this. They know of myofascial release. It's again very simple and efficient way to break the tension that we accumulate daily throughout our life by pressurizing those what we call trigger points. And how we do it differently in MYOYIN classes, we use those therapy balls It can be special therapy balls, but it can be as well just your tennis ball. And so we pressurize it, those trigger points, and then we stretch them. So we apply both forces, one the pressure, one the tension, which is more efficient than when you just apply one kind of force. So when you attend any yoga class, mostly what we do, we stretch, we use the tensile forces. When you attend MFR, on the other hand, you only do the pressure. So what we do in MYOYIN, we bring those two modalities into one, which is again deeper, more thorough practice on its own.
And as far as the understanding of that area is concerned, if somebody has generally attended hatha yoga classes, or trained in Iyengar, or had a more traditional approach to yoga, what would be different about what they'd experienced with you?
So to answer this question, we would have to first talk about how yin is different to other styles of yoga. So when we do, let's say, hatha or your ashtanga, we engage the muscles. When we practice for example, when we stretch, we try to do it with our muscles being engaged, which is very different to yin yoga. When we stretch what's described as target area, that's coming from Paul Greeley and Joe Fee. When we stretch the target area, so we were talking about the front of the body, this part of the body has to be relaxed. Only then we can get deeper into our tissues, into our joints, into our tendons and ligaments. And so that's yin and hatha yoga, the yang styles of yoga. When we apply MFR, we are actually being very, very specific with the target area. We are pressurizing the ball. Yeah, the ball being this size, you can really get deeper into this area that you want to release the tension. Let's say most of us who work in the office, we have tension in our neck, in our shoulders. So stretching alone, when we apply the stretch, it's great, but it's not as efficient on its own as it would be applying, for example, some massage or the MFR therapy. So in this sense, it's just more complex what we do with MYOYIN, because we do the stretching and also pressurizing of the target area.
So after you've done some work with MYOYIN, would you bring tennis balls to every yoga class? Is that what happens?
Yes, but the thing is, it gets messy. It gets messy because the balls they slide out from the body. Sometimes you have to take people to the wall. Sometimes we do it on the floor. Sometimes we do it with the hands. So there are different ways to do that. In different parts of the body, they need a different approach.
So you don't need a tennis ball?
No, usually studios they have that. No. But I tell you, those who tried MYOYIN, usually they never come to my yin classes anymore. Because MYOYIN is so delicious. It's a really, really juicy practice because it's deeper in that sense. Well, it's less of meditation. This component of meditation is kind of removed.
Yeah.
But physically, it's much deeper practice.
Right. So would you say that from your perspective, you mix it all up? You have a mixture of active yang practice, MYOYIN and yin in your life?
Yeah. Well, that's what we need. It would be a mistake to do only yin. It's at the same time, it's a mistake to only do yang. We know now, all the physical therapists, all those professional athletes, they know that cross-training is the best way to preserve health, to stay healthy and exceed your own limitations. So I think it's more wholesome, it's more beneficial to do yin and yang. Whatever your yang is, it can be, I don't know, Krav Maga, it can be bodybuilding, but do balance it with some of the yin. It doesn't have to be yin the way we teach. It can be just your meditation. It can be your stretching, even Pilates. But yeah, I believe that, again, coming from this Taoist background, finding balance is what we should be achieving. And the balance means different for you. It's different for me. I hate jogging. I would never do that. But I do cycle a lot. So I found what's suitable, what benefits me better.
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of doing what you love, what you enjoy as your yin or your yang practice.
Absolutely. At the same time, like if you were to do something you don't like, in my case, jogging, I would do it maybe for 1 week and then just stop doing that. So when we enjoy what we do, we tend to do it longer, which is like, it's just natural.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask you, just going back to the workshop,
sure.
What would be, if someone came along, what do you think that their main takeaways would be when they, after spending a day with you?
Sure. So I'll try to bring some theory on the major trigger points, because I believe this is the foundation of the MFR. We'll talk a little bit about this very sexy word in modern yoga practice of fascia, which actually is an important thing when we do. I believe it's an important thing to know about fascia when we do MFR or Yin yoga. And there will be hands-on practice. So we'll work with those trigger points and show how to break this tension, how to improve mobility, how to break, remove the stagnation of what ancient Chinese called qi, but we can just say it's improve the flow of the blood. Well, qi is not the blood, it's not the flow of the blood, but we can see it in this way as well. So we'll focus on those major 14 trigger points and apply this theory of modern science of myofascial release in this ancient practice of yoga. So that would be something that when after finishing this training, this workshop, people take it home and they can do their own exploration and see how that benefits them and possibly their customers.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Yeah. So in the meantime, because we've got to wait until June until we find you,
sure.
Until you come to the Yoga Teachers Forum and you run the workshop for us, where can we find you? Where would we find out more about you?
So I'll encourage you to join my Instagram. That's Being Young. That's how I practice. Well, just because recently I moved to Europe, where social media are a bit different to where I used to live. In China, you're not allowed to use Instagram. So I'll be posting my events over there. And there are some workshops coming up in UK, London, some in Manchester and Brighton as well. But I'll be doing a lot of workshops in other places as well. So just follow me on my Insta. That's the best way.
Great. Well, I'll make sure that I post the details of the Yoga Teachers Forum event right here for you all to see. And Dominik, I'm really looking forward. I can't believe we've got to wait until June. I'm really, really looking forward to you coming to join us for the workshop. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and looking forward to meet you and your people. Thank you.